Hey, friends, welcome back to the Called to Lead podcast. In today's episode, I am going to be continuing a quick series that we're doing all about helping you grow your business and basing this on number one, the foundations for why we created Restore Collective, whether or not you're a part of it, but also using a really simple acronym, G.R.O.W. So, this is the third episode where we're going to be tackling the O, which stands for the opportunities that you will encounter in your business and how they will define your path by the choices you make, but more importantly, they refine who you are. And so go back and listen to the previous episodes if you want to know the G, the R, and then of course next week we'll wrap it up with the W. But essentially, if you want to grow your business, these are the foundations that you will need to focus on in order to do that in a way that aligns with the foundations of what we are doing here. So let's dive into today's episode. Here we go. All right, friends. So if you have been listening, you know the G is for you to start with gratitude. And the way to do that is to look back on where you've come from in your life and your business, even if you're just getting started in this, and being grateful for that journey, for the ups and downs, for the good things, the hard things that you might have been through. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into that today as we get on a more granular level. But the G stands for gratitude. The R stands for results, meaning if you want to have success and grow your business, whatever that looks like for you, you're going to want to define it. You're going to want to set some clear results, maybe for this month, for this quarter, for this year, for the long term, some that might have to do with money, some that have to do with other areas of your life that this business can impact if you allow it. And if you dream enough to where you can identify those desires that often are from the Lord. So the R stands for results that you want. Today, we're going to talk about opportunities. And so we'll dive deeper there. But then next week, we will wrap it up with the W, which stands for who. Who can your story, your journey impact, even if it's years down the road? So let's unpack this episode with the opportunities. So, how many of you guys are like me, where you can tend to be a bit of an overthinker, where you'll either be asked to do something or you'll have an idea to do something or a name will pop in your mind where you're like, oh, I wonder how they're doing, or, oh, wow, gosh, how great would it be if she loved this product as much as me, or if she joined me in business? How often do you have those ideas that come to your mind? Or sometimes literally even someone encourages you, or maybe it's your mentor that says, hey, you should do this, or you could do this. And instead of taking action on that, you get into overthinking or overwhelm, or you lean into fear and you wind up doing nothing. Or maybe it's busyness. Maybe your days are just so crazy. You're just trying to get through it. As I always say, I'm a hot mess mom, and maybe you are too. If not, you need to show us all how you're making it happen over there, friend. But essentially, our days can be busy, right? It can feel like we're an Uber driver sometimes. Even if you're retired and you're a grandma, things can be busy. I know my mother-in-law, she at one point, I can't remember what it was she couldn't come to, but she was like, I mean, I'm just so busy. And I'm like, doing what? You're retired. But she was pouring herself into the passions that she was excited about. She was actually the lead in a community theater play. And because of the commitments and the things that she was passionate about, and even doing things like babysitting my nieces and, being at one point a caretaker for my nephew, all of those things led her to be very, very, very busy. And so that might be you. And right now it just feels like you're trying to get through the day, let alone add more to-dos to your plate or take action on the things that you've always wanted to do. And so I want to kind of challenge you in that those little inspirations, those God winks, or sometimes the big ones, sometimes it could be a big opportunity. That big opportunity might even be Restore if you've been listening to some of these and you're like, okay, I'm just listening and we'll see what happened. This could be a big thing for you, right? A lot of times those little whispers or those big ideas that you might have are from the Lord. And if they are, and you're not taking action on those, what are you missing out on in terms of not just the growth of what could be possible for your business, but the growth personally that can come from that? Even if you fail, even if that idea doesn't work, even if you do the thing and you fall flat, and that might happen. And we're going to talk through that a little bit. But the big picture is I don't want overthinking or fear or busyness to be what holds you back from taking advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of you that allow you to not only grow your business, but that will define and refine who you are as a person. So, we're going to talk through strategically how to do this in 3 ways in this episode. And so, as you're looking for these opportunities, step one, I want you to listen and be on the lookout for specific inspiration. God is not a God of confusion. He is not one to generalize. And if you really think about some of the things that have brought you, maybe it's your husband, maybe it was going up and talking to him at that bar back in college, or maybe it was, having the courage to talk to your best friend at the soccer game when your kids were, little and playing together. Whatever it is, there was a specific inspiration that I believe was sometimes a whisper from the Lord that was like, talk to this person, do this thing. For me, when I started my business in network marketing, it was kind of right as social media was ramping up a little bit. And so things like going live were just kind of getting started, and selfies were just becoming a thing. And honestly, I had never taken a selfie before. I had not done it. But I was in a beauty company, and when I joined, while I had initial success just by talking and sharing the product with, anybody around me that would listen because I just loved it that much, and that came easy to me, I felt this whisper, this inspiration that not like loudly said, but quietly said, take a before and after, post it on social media. And I'm like, what? No, no, I don't do selfies. What in the world? And it just kind of kept coming up. And I was like, okay, I'll, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I mean, it got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like if I don't do this, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I took that inspiration and I did it. I took action on it, which is going to be the second step. But if I hadn't been listening, or if I had let the fear of putting myself out there in that, that moment of inspiration, what would have happened? Like, where would I be in my business if I had not taken that small step? And what's kind of wild is, so I did wind up posting that before and after. It was terrifying, but it also was a great kind of success. And what's kind of cool is I wound up actually connecting with my mentor through that and realized she had done almost the exact same thing. And that posting the before and after became one of the systems that foundationally set up our business for success. So it wound up being not just something that was an inspiration to me, but it was something that I could then inspire and encourage others to do, even if they were just as scared as I was, even if they had never taken a selfie, even if they didn't know how to like put the pictures side by side or find the right lighting. And to be honest, it wasn't even that good of a before and after to begin with, but it was real, it was authentic, and I was doing it out of inspiration. And so whether it is that quiet direction that, or that idea, maybe it is an idea for a reel on social media, or maybe it's the idea to start a podcast. This podcast was an inspiration flipping through a magazine for my daughter's camp that she went 2 years ago. I literally felt like the Lord was like, you should start a podcast. And I was like, what? What? What about? What do you mean, podcast? And it still took me years to take action on that inspiration. Again, out of like, why me? What would I talk about? Like, this doesn't make sense. And sometimes it's not that, that right thing in that season. But what if I had done it right away? Like, what if I hadn't procrastinated? And what if it didn't take me years to get there? The Lord can, will, and does, and has worked all things together for our good. If you know me, Romans 8:28 is my life verse. But at the same time, I know that I got that inspiration years before I took action on it. And how many of you guys have those things or have had those things that have brought you success and helped you grow in your business? So the first step is to be on the lookout for those specific inspirations. I'm talking the name of somebody that pops into your mind that you haven't maybe talked to in a minute, that you're like, oh, I don't want her to feel like I'm just reaching out because I started this new business. Friend, if the Lord put that person's name on your heart, even if it would be a blessing if they join your business, what if it could be that that person is going through something hard in her life and just needs to hear from you, even if she doesn't ever do anything with you in business? What if it's for a purpose? Or what if this is the right thing for her? And, that desire that you have in your heart isn't a bad thing for you to want her to be on your team or on your branch if you're with Restore. But even if it's not, even if that's your intention isn't like, ooh, what can I get from this girl? No, your intention is following the inspiration for the idea that the Lord gave you. And you know what? Here's the thing. Even if that gal does think like, "Ugh, she's just reaching out to me now because she's doing this." If that's not your like sole purpose or you're not your sole intention, that's all you can do. Because if you are walking in faith on the ideas that could be from the Lord, it doesn't matter what that person thinks or how they receive your message. It matters that you took action on that inspiration. So, what ideas have you had, whether they're big, whether they're small, or today, how can you create space and even quiet your time and just think? Like, one of my favorite things to do is, Lord, who give me one person that I can show your love to today? Just one. Who is one person? And in fact, what's kind of cool, I attended a conference this past week in Florida, in Orlando, back where our Welcome Home event was, which was really cool. I actually got to do a walkthrough for next year's Elevate event. So make sure to save the date for July 15th through the 19th of 2026, because it's going to be, I'm so excited. But I went to a conference. It was a John Maxwell conference. And I was blown away by one of the speakers, Jesse Cole, who is the founder of Savannah Bananas, which is literally right here in our hometown. My daughter actually worked for him. And while I knew his story was powerful and I knew he would have some good messages, I was truly blown away by the application of his story, and I can't wait to bring more to it. But anytime I'm at one of those events, I love to have tangible things to take action on. And John Maxwell actually challenged us to do that. And one of those things was sending short video messages to people. I like to do that via voice, and I have done that. But he's like, I like to do this every single day to send someone a video message. It's fast. It's easier than a thank you note. Is anybody else like struggling with thank you notes? Like I always have. I'm just not very good at them. And I'm really sorry if I owe you a thank you note, because I probably do. And I'm really sorry. But you know what I can do? I can send a video quick message, even if I don't have any makeup on, or even if I look like a hot mess, right? I can send a video so that you can see my heart and see either my gratitude or just saying hi. And while voice is always going to be the best, can you imagine if you did that to one person a day that you could show your love and encouragement to? One teamie, even if she's on your branch or not, a sideline person that you could, speak life into for that day. And so that was something that literally this morning, right before I hit record, I sent a video message to someone just to send a little bit of encouragement that way. And it's something that, I hope to make a habit and be able to do more often. But that was an inspiration that came from attending a conference by someone who's uber successful, but doing it in a way that whether he's a believer or not, which I'm sure he probably is, but he didn't talk about that, but I'm sure he is. He is acting on that inspiration in the moment and not overthinking. He literally did one from stage, which was really cool. So, what are the inspirations that are right in front of you, whether it's someone else that has done something that you could also do, whether it's an idea or maybe even a challenge from your mentor? Because even if it feels like, uncomfortable or something that, maybe like, again, you're like, I could never do that. Or even you might even have a wall up because you've had a bad experience to it. I can tell you if she's in Restore, she likely has a heart to help you grow through this. And so that inspiration, that idea could be the thing to help take your business to the next level. So the first step is looking for those inspirations that are all around you and are often from the Lord, especially if it doesn't play into your fleshly, nature. If it's something that invites you to step outside your comfort zone, probably from him. Okay. So first step, look for inspiration. Step 2, take action. Take action. So I know that sounds really simple, but how many great ideas go, like undone, right? Because we actually don't take the time to do them. And it sounds so simple to take action, but some of the people who are most successful in this business are the ones who take that immediate action, who don't overthink. We even have to sometimes do that on the corporate team. We have to pivot or make changes or, do things, we have to act quickly. Blake, who, if you came to Welcome Home, you met her. She is incredible. She's an amazing asset to our corporate team on the marketing and event side. She calls it a two-way door. She's like, anytime that you can do something, and then, take it back, even if that take it back is like, okay, I should have said that, or I should have done that, or whatever that looks like. Sometimes taking action is what needs to happen instead of just waiting for permission or waiting for clarity or waiting for better understanding from someone else around it. And certainly not waiting to feel comfortable, because as we've already talked about, sometimes that fear, if that's what's holding you back from doing it, that's not from the Lord. Fear is not from the Lord. If it's shame from like maybe even something you did in the past that was wrong, like maybe you did a bunch of hey girl messages in a past thing that They were canned. They were copy paste. They didn't have anything to do with, the person that you were actually connecting with. That person wasn't an inspiration. They were just on a list that you made. It wasn't something which there's nothing wrong with making a list. You've heard me talk about that, but if that you know that I'm a big fan of a small list, not a big list. And like at Restore, we talk about the power of 5, and just start with your 5. Once you've done those 5, you can go find 5 more if you want to, but just start with 5 people. Lord, give me 5 people that might love this product, and think about it, pray about it, and connect with them individually. Don't use a script. You can use a framework. I can give it to you. Hi, Jennifer. I know it's been a minute since we talked, and, say, okay, insert the last time you talked was, when you were trying to push her over the edge. Maybe she was on your team at a former company and you were trying to push her towards a goal for yourself. And that was the last time you have talked to her. Send her that message and say, hey, Jennifer. Okay, I'm a little bit embarrassed because I saw the last message that I sent you. And I just, first of all, want to apologize that I know that in our past experience in the company XYZ that we were with, I maybe wasn't the best mentor because I was operating out of fear or what I could do for my goals or for myself. And I just want to say I'm really sorry if that impacted you. The story in my head might be that that's why we haven't talked in a while. And so I just want to call that out. And if that's not the case, totally understand, but I just want you to know that I have a point of conviction about that. But I didn't want that to stop me from sending you this message just to reconnect and say hi and see how you're doing. And yes, full disclosure, I am with another company. And yes, the Lord put you on my heart that I feel like this is something you would love. But I want to be honest with you and I want to be transparent with you about that. And I want you to know that there's no pressure either way to take a look at the product if you think you might love it, or even the business if that's something. But I just want you to know that when your name came to my heart, that I wanted to take the time to connect with you intentionally, knowing that I'm sorry if my actions have hurt you in any way, but that I miss what we had and I am grateful for every bit of it. And so I hope you and your family are doing well. Loved seeing those pictures of your kids at the beach last weekend, and I look forward to hearing from you. And can you imagine what it would be like to receive that kind of humble message, even if someone had a bad experience? And that's terrifying. I get it. It's really easy for me to tell you to go do that, right? But what if that's the specific inspiration? What if that's your experience? Because we have had that experience. I have had Jennifer's. In fact, I literally had someone that came to mind yesterday with kind of a similar story of, oh, I know what it is. I saw her name pop up on a group chat that I was like, ooh, are our daughters cheering together? Ooh, I haven't talked to her in a long time. In fact, the last time I talked to her was when she was close to ranking years ago. I should probably come up to her and say hi. So guess what? My daughter has her first cheer game tonight. If that is in fact her, same name. I can't wait to see her and talk to her. And who knows, maybe I'll follow my own step if I feel that inspiration. But I want you to think about that. And I want you to think of the impact that those type of words can have on your life, on the Jennifers of your life. Her name's not Jennifer, by the way, on the Jennifers of your life. And what could that look like? And guess what? That message took minutes. And if I were to do that times 5, and again, the next message might be like, hey, Susie, it was so great to see you last week at the cheer game. I can't believe I forgot to talk to you about this, but I am working with this amazing new brand, and I can't help but feel like you would be obsessed with it. I'm actually inviting some gals over this weekend to just play makeup. Honestly, I'm kind of still learning myself. I don't even have all the colors yet, but what are you doing on Saturday? Would you be interested in coming and hanging out with me and Jessica and Emily this weekend? Let me know if you're free. That could be the second message, right? Like it's completely different. It's tailored to that person. It takes minutes. And if you do that times 5, like even every day, can you imagine what that would look like in your business if you actually took action and sat down and took, literally like 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Because even you hot mess moms who are working more than full-time jobs, you can do this. You can take action on these things. And it starts with taking just those little small steps of action and inspiration. So that's step 2, take action on the big things, start that podcast, post that before and after, go live. If that's, I know that's still a thing, go live, do the thing, do the scary thing, right? Take action, especially if it's been given to you as an inspiration, or especially if you've seen someone else do it and you're like, okay, maybe I could do that too. Take action, my friends. Okay, the last one is the hardest one, because it is basically realizing that whatever the result is of you taking that action, even if Jennifer ghosts you, or worse, Jennifer writes back and says, you know what? Yeah, that was really crappy. And I, don't forgive you, which is probably not going to be the case, right? And if so, you're like, okay, Jennifer, I don't really want to be friends with you anymore, right? Like I tried, I did my thing. I'm going to bless and release, right? But what if Jennifer writes back and needed that example in her life? What if she carried that example that unfortunately you gave her in your business, because people don't do what you tell them to, they do what they see you do. And she went and did the same things to 5 more people at another company that she joined. What if your example of humility and asking for forgiveness, which is biblically foundationally based, right? Like, what if that could be the thing to inspire her to have that same level of humility? What if? Like, who knows what this result is? And you're going to have a lot of mistakes, which we've talked about on this podcast before, which it's like if you're throwing darts or, if you're, learning to do archery, like you're not going to hit the bullseye every time. You're not. But the more steps of faith that you take, the more actions that you take, the more ideas that you implement, some of them are going to hit the bullseye. And the ones that don't, you're going to learn from. You're going to learn the hard lessons. You're going to learn what to say differently next time. You're going to be more confident the more that you do it, the more that you take the time to send those messages, to reach out, to interact with people coming from the right foundation of inspiration and action. And so the last step in this is really kind of circling back around to the G in grow, which is being grateful to know that whatever the results are of this are going to define your journey, define your story, define your path in this business. And they're going to refine who you are so that you can serve the who's that will inevitably join you in your business, which of course is going to be the one where we're going to talk about next week. But my friends, what are the inspirations that you already have? Maybe take a quiet moment. I don't always invite you to do this, but maybe after this podcast, instead of moving on to the next thing, take some time to get quiet and to think like, Lord, what are some ideas that you have given me? What are some people that you put in my life and my path? Write them down. There's power in doing that. What are the dreams that you have put on my heart that I've never actually taken steps to make happen? Put it down. Because I can tell you, when you take action on those inspirations, even if the result is failure, it is for you. It will help you grow. It will help refine you, and it will define your path to growth, not just in success in business, but in life as well. So I'm going to wrap this up in prayer. Lord, thank you so much for all of the inspirations that you've given me that I've taken action on, the ones that I need to take action on, and all of the times that I have trusted you enough to take that step, to take to do that next right thing based on that direction. And thank you for the results, even when I have failed, even when I've fallen short, even when I've done or said the wrong thing, even when I've maybe even hurt someone, because those are opportunities for me to step in and be a light to point back to you as the source of love and light and forgiveness, and not to me as the perfect person, because none of us are, and none of us will be, except through your eyes of grace and love and forgiveness that can only be found by surrendering our lives, surrendering our shortcomings, and bringing our sin to you, and allowing and believing that the reason that God sent you to die on that cross was to absolve us of those shortcomings. And that's how you see us. And you invite us to see ourselves in that same way. And you invite us to see the steps, the missteps, the mistakes, the failures, the good things that happen. All of it is from you and for you and through you. And it's to help us while we're here on this earth become more like you. And so those that are listening, just empower them to first seek you for those inspiration, next take action, and then just to be grateful for whatever that result, good or bad, is from doing that, knowing that you can and will work it all together for our good. So thank you for the listeners. Thank you for those that are on this journey, whether it's with a part of Restore or not. And thank you for helping us to all set the foundation of doing our business and growing our business in the right way, in your way. And in Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to see you again next week to wrap up this series. Bye, guys.